Good day, everyone. This is our group presentation. It is all about the psychology of language. As we all know, psychology of language has so many contents or chapters, but we will focus on the chapter 7 of this book, which is entitled Reading. Reading is under the section B, the biological and developmental basis of language. And here are the main contents of reading. Introduction, the writing system, a preliminary model of reading, the process of normal reading, the neuroscience of adult reading disorder, models of word naming, connectionist models of dyslexia, comparison of models, and last, the summary. So let's have the introduction. This chapter is about how we read them. How do we gain access to the sounds and meaning of words? We also examine the effects of brain damage on reading, giving rise to the acquired dyslexia, and show how reading disorders can be related to a model of reading. This chapter also looks at how children learn to read. Reading aloud and reading to oneself are clearly different but related tasks. When we read aloud or name words, we must retrieve the sounds of words. When we read ourselves, we read to obtain the meaning, but most of the time experience the sound of words as inner speech. It is possible to go to the meaning of word when reading without else assessing its sounds. So, by the end of this chapter, we should first know how different languages translate language into sounds and understand the alphabetic principle. Second, understand the motivation of dual root model of reading and know about its strengths and weaknesses. Third, appreciate how different types of dyslexia related to the dual root model and also the problems they pose for it. And last, know about connectionist models of reading and how they count for dyslexia. The writing system. The basic unit of a written language is called the letter. The name grapheme is given to the letter or combination of letters that represent a phoneme. For example, the word ghost. Ghost contains 5 letters and 4 graphemes, like the letter G and H, which sounds G, the letter O, S, and T, which is representing phonemes. There is much variability in the structure of written language than there is in spoken language. All spoken languages utilize a basic distinction between consonant and vowels. There is no such common thread to the world's written languages. To better understand this topic, here are the different types of word-written languages: the alphabetic script, consonantal script, syllabic script, the logographic or ideographic script. Examples from the alphabetic script. It is the English or other European language. Features: the basic unit represented by a grapheme is essentially a phoneme. In languages as English, this relation can be one-to-many in both directions. A phoneme can be realized by different graphemes. Another example, compare to, or to, and through. A grapheme can be realized by many different phonemes. Example again, the letter A in the words fate, pot, and father. Some languages lie between these extremes. The second types of written language, the consonantal script, which is Hebrew or Arabic. Features: not all sounds are represented as vowels, are not written down. Syllabic script, Cherokee and Japanese kana. Features: written units represent syllable. Logographic script or ideographic script, Chinese and Japanese kanji. Features: each symbol represents a whole. One consequence of this variation in writing system is that there must be differences in processing between readers of different languages. Unlike speech, reading and writing are relatively recent development. The writing emerged independently in Sumer and Mesoamerica and perhaps also in Egypt and China. The first writing system was the cuneiform script, which is printed on clay in Sumer, which appeared just before 3000 BC. The emergence of the alphabetic script can be traced ancient Greece in about 1000 BC. The development of one-to-many correspondence in English orthography primarily arose between the 15th and 18th century. So, as a consequence of the development of the printing press and the activities of spelling reformers who tried to make the Latin and Greek origins of words more apparent in their spelling. Therefore, it is perhaps not surprising that reading is actually quite complex cognitive task. There is a wide variation in reading abilities, and many different types of reading disorder arise as a consequence of brain damage. Let's move on to the preliminary model of reading. Our ability to read suggests that we might have different ways of pronounced words. Imagine reading the word beef. The word beef has regular spelling to sound correspondence, meaning the letters directly map onto sounds, so we can easily pronounce it even if we've never seen it before. Words like this are said to have regular spelling to sound correspondence, that is, the graphemes map onto phonemes in totally regular way, so you need no special knowledge about the word to know how to pronounce it. If you had never seen the word beef before, you could still pronounce it correctly. Some other examples of regular word pronunciation include the word hint and rave. In these words, there are alternative pronunciation, as in print and have, but in word hint and rave are pronounced in accordance with the most common pronunciation. These are all regular words because all the graphemes have the standard pronunciation. But in preliminary model of reading, not all words are regular. However, for example, the word steak, it is irregular. They don't follow the standard spelling rules, so we need specific knowledge about those words to pronounce them correctly. This suggests that we have a lexical root for irregular words, which assesses our stored knowledge of specific pronunciation. Consider the word steak as an irregular spelling to sound or grapheme to phoneme correspondence. The grapheme EA is not pronounced in the usual way as in strike, snake, speak, lick, and beak. Other exceptions to a rule include have an exemption to the rule that leads to a regular pronunciation, like the word gave, rave, and save, and so forth. And vase. In British English, an exemption to the rule that leads to regular pronunciation, like base and case, forth. English has many irregular words. Some words are extremely irregular, containing unusual patterns of letters that have no close neighbors, such as the word islands, isle, goes, and yacht. These words are sometimes called lexical hermits. Third, we also have the ability to pronounce made-up words like Nate or Smick. This grapheme to phoneme or GPC root that allows us to sound out the words based on the letter to sound rules. We can pronounce strings of letters such as Nate, Smick, Fought, or Dutch even though we have never seen them before. These letter strings all the pronounceable non-words or pseudo-words. Therefore, even though they are novel, we can still pronounce them and we all tend to agree on how they should pronounce. If you hear non-words like these, you can spell them correctly. You assemble the pronunciation from their consistent graphemes. Our ability to read non-words on the other hand and irregular words on the other suggests that possibility of dual root model. A modern view is that we use both roots simultaneously and the fastest root wins the race to pronounce the word. These dual root models explain why we can both regular and irregular words and why we can even pronounce unfamiliar words. To better understand the preliminary model of reading, here are simplified version of the dual root model of reading. Our ability to read non-words on the hand and the regular words on the other suggests the possibility of the dual root model. And this is the simplified version of dual root modeling of reading. We can assemble pronunciation for words or non-words we have never seen before, yet also pronounce correctly. Irregular words that must need information specific to those words. The classical root model has two roots for turning words into sound. This is a direct access or lexical root, which is needed for irregular words. This must at least in same way involve a direct link between print and sound. That is, the lexical root takes us directly to a word's entry in the lexicon and we are then able to retrieve the sound of word. There is also a grapheme to phoneme conversion, or GPC.
So this is the continuation of our reports, the process of normal reading, reading non-words. The pronunciation of all non-words should be assembled using the GPC root. So what is the GPC root? GPC root, also called the indirect or non-lexical or sublexical root, which is used in reading non-words. This means that all pronounceable non-words should be alike and similarity to words should not matter, but not all pronounceable non-words are alike. The pseudo-homophone effect. Pseudo-homophones are pronounceable noun-words that sound like words when pronounced, such as brain, which sounds like the word brain when spoken. Pinagkaiba nila is yung spelling at yung kahulugan. Rubenstein et al. 1971 showed the pseudo-homophones are more confusable with words than the other types of non-words are. Participants are faster to name them, but slower to reject them as non-words than control non-words. The pseudo-homophone effect suggests that not all non-words are processed in the same way. The importance of the visual appearance of the non-words further suggests that something else apart from phonological recording is involved here. Glushko 1979 experiment lexical effects on non-words reading. Glushko performed a very important experiment on the effect of the regularity of the word neighbors of a non-word on its pronunciation, and he found out the pronunciation of non-words is affected by the pronunciation of similar words, and that non-words are not same as each other, and there are lexical effects on non-words processing. Example, non-words is feel, feed. Both have a regular neighbors, real, seal, deal, and bid. But the pronunciation of feed is uninfluenced by its irregular neighbor dead. Reading words. According to the dual root model, words are accessed directly by the direct root. This means that all words should be treated the same in the respect of the regularity of their spelling to sound correspondences. The findings that regularity affects naming might appear problematic for the dual root model, but make sense if there is a race between direct and indirect roots. Remember that there is an interaction between regularity and frequency. The pronunciation of common words is directly retrieved before the indirect root can construct any conflicting pronunciation. Conflict arises when the lexical root is low, as when retrieving low-frequency words, and when the pronunciation of a low-frequency word generated by the lexical root conflicts with that generated by the non-lexical root, according to Norrie and Brown 1985. Glushko 1979 experiment results from words. Glushko found out that words behave in a similar way to non-words in that the naming times of words are affected by the phonological consistency of neighbors. Example, the word gang is regular and all its neighbors such as bang, sang, rang, and hang are also regular. Glushko also found true naming errors of all over regularization. Example, pint was sometimes given its regular pronunciation to rhyme with dint. Pronunciation neighborhoods. Classification of word pronunciation depending on regularity and consistency based on Patterson and Morton 1985. So we see in this column There are word type, example, and characteristics. The word we see that consistency, example is gaze. Characteristics is all words receive the same regular pronunciation of the body. Consensus, linked. All words with one exemption receive the same regular pronunciation. Heretic, pinned. The irregular exemption to the consensus. Gang, look. All words with the exemption receive the same irregular pronunciation. Hero, spook. The regular exemption of the gang. Gang without a hero. Cold. All words receive the same irregular pronunciation. Ambiguous, conformist, cove. Regular pronunciation with many irregular exemplars. Ambiguous, independent, love. Irregular pronunciation with many regular exemplars. Hermit, yacht. No other word has this body. The classification reflects two factors. First, the regularity of the pronunciation with reference to spelling to sound correspondence rules. Second, the agreement with other words that share the same body. Not all non-words behave in the same way. Neither do all words. The regulatory pronunciation of a word affects the ease with which we can name it. In addition, the pronunciation of the word's neighbors can affect its naming. The number of friends and enemies, enemies affects how easy it is to name a word. The role of sound in accessing meaning, phonological mitigation. Phonological mitigation is the alternative, strong phonological view that we primarily get to the meaning through sounds. The most extreme form of this idea is that visual word recognition cannot occur in the absence of computing the sound of the word. A number of studies have tried to decide between the Trong and Dweck phonological views using masked phonological priming. In this technique, targets clip are preceded by phonologically identical non-words primes clip. Several studies have found priming effects occur even when the primes have been masked and presented so briefly that they cannot be consciously observed and reported, suggesting that the phonological stimulus must occur automatically and extremely quickly. Look at Hella and Turvey 1994 to 1994b, Perfecti, Bell and Delaney 1988. Does speed reading works? Proponents of speed reading claims that you can increase your reading speed from the average of 200 to 350 words a minute to 2000 words a minute, or even faster yet retain some level of comprehension, but this is not possible. As you increase reading speed above the normal rate, comprehension declines, and studies found that normal readers scored 15% higher on comprehension measures than the speed readers, performed slightly better than a group of people who skimmed through the passages, so that speed reading then is not as effective of normal reading. The neuroscience of adult reading disorders. This is concerned with disorders of processing written language. We must distinguish between acquired disorder, which, as a result of head trauma such as stroke, operation, or head injury, lead to disruption of the processes that were functioning normally beforehand, and developmental disorder, which do not result from obvious trauma and which disrupt the development of a particular function. Disorders of reading are called the dyslexia. Disorder of writing are called dysgraphias. Dyslexia means nahihirapan silang intindihin nilang binabasa or nahihirapan sila sa pagsusulat o pagsababasa, while The disorder of writing are called dysgraphies or nahihirapan siya sa pagsusulat. Disorder of reading are called the dyslexia or nahihirapan sa pagbabasa, and the dysgraphias which is nahihirapan sa pagsusulat.
Surface dyslexia. People with surface dyslexia have a selective impairment in the ability to read irregular exception words. Hence, they would have difficulty with stick compared with a similar regular relative word such as speak. Surface dyslexic often make over-regulation errors when trying to read irregular words aloud. Example, they pronounce broad as broad, stick as stick, and islands as islands, but their ability to read regular words and non-words is intact. In terms of the dual root model, individuals with surface dyslexia can only read via the indirect non-lexical route. It is an impairment of the lexical direct access processing route. The comprehension of word meaning is intact in these patients. They still know what an island is even they cannot read the word, and they can still understand it if you say the word to them. So, sinasabi dito, ang mga individual na may surface dyslexia ay makakabasa lamang sa pamamagitan ng hindi direkta. Ito ay isang kapansanan sa lexical o direktang pag-access, ruta ng pagproseso. Ang pag-unawa sa kahulugan ng salita ay buo sa mga pasyenteng ito. Alam pa rin nila kung ano ang isla kahit hindi nila mabasa ang salita. At maunawaan pa rin nila ito kung sasabihin mo sa salita kanila. Phonological dyslexia. People with phonological dyslexia have a selective impairment in the ability to read pronunciable non-words called pseudo-word, such as sleb, while their ability to read much words, example, sleep, is preserved. Phonological dyslexia was first described by Chalice and Warrington year 1975 to 1980. Patterson year 1980 and Beavus and DeRozan 1979. Phonological dyslexic find irregular words no harder to read than regular ones. These symptoms suggest that the patient can only read using lexical route, and therefore that phonological dyslexia is an impairment of the non-lexical GPC processing route. There are different types of phonological dyslexia. DeRozan and Beavus 1979 suggested the phonological dyslexia can result from disruption of either orthographic or phonological process. So, sabi dito, ang phonological dyslexic ay nakakahanap ng mga hindi regular na salita na hindi mas mahirap basahin kaysa sa mga regular. Ang mga sintomas na ito ay nagmumungkahi na ang mga pasyente ay maaari lamang magbasa. Ang phonological dyslexia ay isang kamansanan sa non-lexical GPC na ruta ng pagproseso. Mayroong iba't ibang uri ng phonological dyslexia. DeRozan and iminungkahi ni Beavus 1979 na ang phonological dyslexia ay maaaring magresulta mula sa pagkambala ng alinman sa orthographic o phonological process. Deep dyslexia. At first sight, surface and phonological dyslexia appear to exhaust the possibilities of the consequences of damage to the dual root model. Deep dyslexia is surprising another type of dyslexia. Marshall and Newcombe, 1966 to 1973, first described deep dyslexia in two patients GR and KU. Patients with this kind of dyslexia have difficulty in reading non-words, and considerable difficulty in reading the grammatical function words. The defining characteristic of dyslexia is the presence of semantic reading or semantic parallaxias. Example, daughter, sister, pray, chapel, rose, flower, kill, hate. The imaginability of a word is an important determinant of the ability of reading success in deep dyslexia. Patients who suffer from deep dyslexia as a result of stroke the left hemisphere. Ang imaginability ng isang salita ay isang mahalagang determinant ng posibilidad ng tagumpay sa pagbabasa sa malalim na dyslexia. Pasyente na dumaranas ng malalim na dyslexia bilang resulta ng stroke sa kaliwang hemisphere. The right hemisphere hypothesis. This right hemisphere hypothesis is supported by the observation that the more the left hemisphere that is damaged, the more severe the deep dyslexia, observed Jones and Martin 1985. The reading performance of deep dyslexic resembles that split brain patient when words are presented to the left visual field and therefore to the right hemisphere. The right hemisphere hypothesis has never won wide acceptance. In part, this is because the hypothesis is considered a negative one, and that if it were correct, deep dyslexia would tell us nothing about normal reading. In addition, people with deep dyslexia read much better than a split brain patient who are forced to rely on the right hemisphere advantage for concrete words in rarely found, and then imaginability of the target would use in these experiments might have confounded by length. Ang pagganap sa pagbabasa ng deep dyslexic ay kahawig ng paghahati ng mga pasyente sa utak kapag ang mga salita ay ipinakita sa kaliwang visual field at sa makatuwid ay sa kanilang hemisphere. Ang right hemisphere hypothesis ay hindi kailanman nanalo ng malawak sa pagtanggap. Sa isang bahagi ito ay dahil ang hypothesis ay tinuturing na isang negatibo na kung ito ay tama, ang malalim na dyslexia ay walang sasabihin sa aming tungkol sa normal na pagbabasa. Bilang karagdagan, ang mga taong may malalim na dyslexia ay mas mahusay na magbabasa kaysa sa isang split brain ng mga pasyente na napipilitang umasa sa tamang hemisphere na bentahe para sa mga konkretong salita ay bihirang makita. Ang mga imaginability ng target na paggamit ng salita sa mga eksperimentong ito ay maaring nagulos sa haba. Non-semantic reading. Schwartz, Marin, and Safran, 1979, described WLP, an elderly patient suffering from progressive dementia. WLP had a greatly impaired ability to retrieve the meaning of written words. For example, she is unable to match written animal names to pictures. WLP can read words without any comprehension of their meaning. Coslet, 1991, described a patient WT who was virtually unable to read non-word, suggesting an impairment of indirect root of dual root model, but who was able to read irregular words quiet proficiently even though she can't understand those words. This case studies suggests that we must have a direct access route from orthography to phonology that does not go through semantics. Acquired dyslexia in other languages. Language such as Italian, Spanish, or Serbio-Croat, which have totally transparent of shallow alphabetic orthographies, that is where every grapheme is in one-to-one relation with phoneme, can show phonological and deep dyslexia but not surface dyslexia, defined as inability to, with exception, word reading. Patterson, Marshall, Coulthard, 1985 to 1985b. Whereas language such as English have a single alphabetic script, Japanese has two different scripts, kana and kanji. See Coulthard, 1980, Sasuma, 1980. Kana is a syllabic script and kanji is a lorographic or ideographic script. Therefore, words in kanji convey no information on how a word should be pronounced, while kana allows sublexical processing. Kanji must be accessed to a direct lexical route. Chinese is an ideographic language. Butterworth and Wengang, 1991, reported evidence of two routes in reading in Chinese. Ideographs can be read aloud either to route that associates the symbol with its complete pronunciation, or to one that uses part of the symbols. Although Chinese is non-alphabetic, most symbols contain some sublexical information or pronunciation. The study the study of other languages that have different means of mapping photography orthophonology is still at a relatively early stage, but it is likely to greatly enhance our understanding of reading mechanism. Ang pag-aaral ng iba't ibang mga wika na may iba't ibang paraan ng pagmamapa ng photography sa panolohiya ay nasa medyo maagang yugto pa. Ngunit ito ay malamang na lubos na pagpapahusay sa ating pag-unawa sa
Modeling Deep Dyslexia. Hinton and Chalice, 1991. Lesson. Another connectionist model to stimulate deep dyslexia. Their model was trained by back propagation to associate word pronunciation with the representation of the meaning of words. This model particularly important because it showed that one type of lesion can give rise to all symptoms of deep dyslexia, particularly both parallaxias and visual errors. Ang modelo ng deep dyslexia ay isang paraan ng pag-unawa kung paano nakakapekto ang dyslexia sa pagbabasa ng mga salita sa isang mas malalim na antas. Sa madaling salita, ang mga tao may deep dyslexia ay hindi lamang nahihirapan sa pagbabasa ng salita, kundi nakakaranas din sila ng mga pagkamali sa pag-unawa ng kahulugan ng mga salita at sa pag-ugnay ng mga ito sa konteksto. Modeling phonological dyslexia. The triangle model provides the best connectionist account of phonological dyslexia. It envisages reading as taking place through the three routes conceptualized in the Origin SM model. The routes are orthography to phonology, orthography to semantics, and semantics to phonology. Ang modelo ng phonological dyslexia ay isang paraan at pag-unawa kung paano makakapekto ang dyslexia sa pagbabasa ng mga salita. Sa madaling salita, nahihirapan ang mga taong may phonological dyslexia na basahin ang mga salita, lalo na ang mga dahil pamilyar na salita o mga salitang hindi sumusunod sa mga karaniwang patakaran ng pagbigkas. Connectionist model of dyslexia. Modeling surface of dyslexia. Over the last few years, connectionist modeling has contributed to our deep understanding of deep and surface dyslexia. Patterson, Seidenberg, and McClelland in 1989. Leysond. The Seidenberg and McClelland 1898 network after learning phase by destroying hidden unit of connection weights, then observe the behavior of the model. Patterson, Jetterala, in 1989 explored three main types of lesion. Damage of the network between the orthographic input and hidden units called early weights. Damage of the connection between the hidden and output phonological unit called late weight. The damage of the hidden units themselves. The greater the amount of damage being stimulated and higher the proportion of weights that was changed. The consequences were measured in two ways. One, damage was measured by phonological error score. Two, damage was measured by the several rate. Increased damage at each location produced near linear increase in the phonological error scores of all types of words. Damage of hidden units in particular produced a large number of instances where exception words were produced with a regular pronunciation. This similar to result whereby surface dyslexia over regularize their pronunciation. Ang modeling surface of dyslexia ay isang uri ng dyslexia na pagkakaapekto ng kakayahan ng isang tao na makita ang mga salita bilang isang buo at mabawi ang kanilang pagbigkas mula sa memorya. Sa madaling salita, nahirapan ang mga taong may surface dyslexia na basahin ang mga salita na hindi sumusunod sa mga karaniwang patakaran at pagbigkas kahit na alam nila ang kahulugan ng mga ito. Mahalagang tandaan ng surface dyslexia ay hindi isang tanda ng kahulugan ng katalinuhan. Maaari ang mga tao may surface dyslexia ay matalino at may kakayahang matuto. Ang mga tulong ng suporta ay maaari nilang matuto ng pagbabasa at pagsusulat ng mahusay. Silent reading and inner speech. Although it seems unlikely that we have to access sounds before meaning, we do routinely means to access some sort of phonological code after accessing meaning in silent reading. Subjective evidence for this is the experience of the inner speech while reading. Tongue twisters such as number 1, take longer to read silently than sentence where there is variation in the initial consonant, by Haber and Haber 1982. The experience of inner speech while reading demonstrates that we can access some sort of phonological code after accessing meaning in silent reading. Ang tahimik na pagbabasa at panloob ng salita ay dalawang magkakaugnay na proseso na magaganap sa ating utak kapag tayo nagbabasa. Ang tahimik na pagbabasa. Ito ay ang proseso ng pagbabasa ng mga salita nang hindi binibigkas ito ng malakas. Karaniwan nating ginagawa ito kapag tayo nagbabasa ng mga libro, artikulo, at iba pang mga teksto. Ang tahimik na pagbabasa ng ating mga mata ay nag-i-scan ng mga salita sa pahina at ang ating utak ay nagpoproseso ng impormasyon ng bawat salita. Hindi natin kailangang bigkasin ang mga salita ng malakas para maunawaan ang kanilang kahulugan. Ang ating utak ay nakakuha ng mga kahulugan mula sa atin sa pamamagitan ng pag-uugnay ng mga ito sa ating mga dating kaalaman at karanasan. Ang panloob na pagsasalita. Ito ay ang proseso ng pagbibigkas ng mga salita sa ating isipan. Kapag tayo nagbabasa, madalas nating maririnig ang mga salita sa ating isipan kahit hindi na natin binibigkas ito ng malakas. Ang panloob na pagsalita ay maaaring makatulong sa atin na maunawaan ang mga komplikadong teksto o mga konsepto. Maaari natin itong makatulong sa atin matandaan ang mga impormasyon. Sa ilang mga tao, ang panloob na pagsasalita ay mas malakas at mas madalas kaysa sa iba. Ang ilang mga tao ay maaaring magkaroon ng mas malakas na panloob na pagsasalita kapag sila ay nagbabasa ng mga kwento o mga tula, habang ang iba naman ay maaaring magkaroon ng malakas na panloob na pagsalita kapag sila ay nagbabasa ng mga teksto pang-agham o pang-akademya. The original and revised dual rote model of reading. Ang mga larawan ay nagpapakita ng dalawang modelo ng pagbabasa, ang orihinal at ang binagong modelo ng mga ruta. Ang orihinal na modelo ng dalawang ruta ay nagsabi na mayroong dalawang paraan kung paano makakabasa ang mga tao. Number 1, lexical. Recalled lexicon. Ang rutang ito ay nagsasangkot ng direktang pag-a-access sa isang mental na diskusyonaryo ng mga salita at kailangan ng mga pagbigkas. Halimbawa, kapag nakita ka ng isang aso, direktang makukuha mo ang mga pagbigkas nito mula sa iyong mental na diskusyonaryo. Ito, sublexical route. Ang rutang ito ay nasasangkot sa pag-decode ng mga titik sa isang salita at paggamit ng mga panuntunan pagbigkas upang makuha ang pagbigkas sa salita. Halimbawa, kapag nakita ka ng salitang kwek-kwek, maaari mong i-decode ang titik at gamitin sa mga panuntunan pagbigkas upang makuha mong salitang pagbigkas. Ang binagong modelo ay dalawang ruta ay nagpapalawak sa orihinal na modelo sa pamamagitan ng pagdaragdag ng isang semantic system na nag-uugnay sa mga salita sa kanilang mga hulugan. Ang modelo na ito ay nagsasabi na ang pagbabasa ay hindi lamang tungkol sa pagbigkas ng mga salita kundi pati rin sa pag-unawa sa kanilang mga hulugan. Ang larawan ay nagpapakita ng dalawang ruta ito sa pamamagitan ng mga araw na nag-uugnay sa iba't ibang bahagi ng modelo. Ang grapheme ay kumakatawan sa isang titik ay ang simula ng proseso ng pagbabasa. Ang lexical route ay nag-uugnay sa grapheme sa lexical system na kumakatawan sa mental na diskusyonaryo. Ang sublexical route ay nag-uugnay sa grapheme sa phonology system na kumakatawan sa mga panuntunan ng pagbigkas. Ang binagong modelo ay nagdaragdag ng semantic system na nag-uugnay sa lexical system o non-semantic reading at sublexical recording. Ang non-semantic reading ay tumutukoy sa pagbabasa ng mga salita nang hindi nagbibigay pansin sa kanilang mga kahulugan, habang ang sublexical recording ay tumutukoy sa pag-record ng mga grapheme at mga tunog ng mga salita. The revised dual root model. We can save the dual root model by making it more complete. The three-root model accounts for the data as follows. The lexical effects on non-words and regularity effects on words are explained by crosstalk between the lexical and non-lexical roots. Two types of interaction is possible. The interference during retrieval and conflict and resolving multiple phonology forms after retrieval. The two subsystems of the non-lexical roles also given the model great power. The most recent version of dual root model is the dual cascade. This is a computation of model based on architecture of the dual root model, although it is the fact of misleadingly so-called as it is really based on the three-root model. Model of word naming. Both the classical dual root and single root lexical instance model face a number of problems. 1. There are lexical effects for non-words and regularity effects for words, and therefore reading cannot be a simple case of automatic grapheme to phoneme, conversation for non-words, and automatic direct access for all words. Single root model root to provide no account non-word of pronunciation, and it remains to be demonstrated how neighborhood affects the word pronunciation. 2. Any model must be able to account the pattern of dissociation found in dyslexia. Ang modelo ay nagpangalan ng mga salita at teorya, nagpaliwanag kung paano matuto ang mga tao at makilala at bigkasin ang mga salita. Sa madaling salita, ito ay nagpaliwanag kung paano natin natutunan ang mga pangalan at mga bagay-bagay sa mundo. Ang modelong ito ay nagbibigay ng iba't ibang panaw sa proseso ng pag-aaral ng wika. Ang bawat modelo ay may kalakasan at kahinaan at pinaka-epektibong modelo ay depende sa individual na pag-aaral ng mga konteksto sa pag-aaral.